even if we had not a single tax on fuel today, will the cost of fuel continue to rise amidst the global rise of oil prices, Honorable Speaker? And the straight answer, Honorable Speaker, whether we like it or not, whether there are taxes loaded onto some of the products that we are dealing with, like fuel, if the global oil prices continue to rise on account of the war in the Arab world, in the Middle East, or in Ukraine and Russia, Honorable Speaker, if you are not able to change certain fundamentals like those of that war, if you are not able to change fundamentals as the global supply chain disruptions that came with the COVID pandemic, if you are not able to reverse the climate change issues, Honorable Speaker, the West, in Europe, in the Americas, Honorable Speaker, they are now at the onset of winter. The demand for fuel for heating in their homes is at a very high level, Honorable Speaker, and demand for fuel will continue being there. Honorable Speaker, until and unless we deal with those fundamentals, we can only be lying to each other and lying to our people, pretending to shout from rallies and funerals that we can subsidize fuel, Honorable Speaker. Our economy today cannot bear the burden of subsidizing fuel, Honorable Speaker. But I must note, Honorable Speaker, that being an administration and a regime that is being sensitive and alive to the realities of the challenges, global challenges that pervade the economy in the world, Honorable Speaker, this administration, Honorable Speaker, even with the consistent rise in global oil prices, Honorable Speaker, using the Fuel Stabilization Fund, at least this administration has been able to preempt very high spikes and standardize the pricing using that stabilization fund, Honorable Speaker. And I want to believe, Honorable Speaker, even in the expected review of oil prices or fuel prices this month, the use of that stabilization fund will be utilized. And that is the right way to do things, Honorable Speaker. Otherwise, we can continue subsidizing fuel, continue accumulating the kind of bills that we are accumulating to the tune of 60 billion shillings for a period of only 7 to 8 months, but sink our economy and our country into a debt hole that we will never get out of, Honorable Speaker. The joy that we must celebrate today as a nation, that even with the difficulty around the world, Honorable Speaker, our nation, our country today, Honorable Speaker, as the President stated, we can confidently stand up high with our shoulders and our necks high and tell the world markets that we are ready to start repaying our Eurobond. We shall not be defaulting on any of our international financial obligations, Honorable Speaker. And I must commend this administration and the President for the measures taken to ensure that we do not take the route that has been taken by other African countries. Honorable Speaker, let me say it all begins and ends with leadership. With the right leadership, you do the right things at the right time. With the wrong leadership, Honorable Speaker, you will be tempted to do all the populist things that we speak about in funerals and rallies over the weekends, Honorable Speaker, that we can afford, knowing very well that we can't, Honorable Speaker, to subsidize food, to subsidize fuel. Honorable Speaker, all the things that we cannot afford as a country, Honorable Speaker, we must be bold enough to look at each other in the eyes, to look at Kenyans in the eyes, and tell them that we were in a bad place, but we are getting somewhere, Honorable Speaker. I am very confident, Honorable Speaker, and I know those who never voted for this government, those who never believed in this administration, Those who do not support this administration would not agree with me or agree with the president when he says that this economy has now been stabilized. We are now out of the hole. We can now see the horizon. We can see where we are going, Honorable Speaker, as an economy. That may not be clear to those who believed in subsidizing consumption, Honorable Speaker. That may not be clear to those who believed that state capture, Honorable Speaker, and the fight against corruption was a war to wage against individuals and not something to do for posterity, Honorable Speaker. I am glad the President spoke and addressed the nation on what is his administration not only intends to do, but is doing on the fight against corruption, Honorable Speaker. And I know many of us, again, those who never believed in this president and in this administration, have taken issues, Honorable Speaker, with a mambo ni matatu phrase. But, Honorable Speaker, that is just how bold we have to be. Honorable Speaker, His Excellency the President did allude to the conflict of interest bill. And without anticipating debate, Honorable Speaker, that bill is before this House. I wait with bated breath, Honorable Speaker, to sit and listen to how many of us in this House who pontificate on the fight against corruption will stand to oppose the conflict of interest bill that stands to decisively deal with matters, state capture, and the fight against corruption, Honorable Speaker. The shoring up of our interest, of our shilling against the hard currency, Honorable Speaker. Kenyans may not know that on account of state capture, our shilling, our foreign exchange reserves were being manipulated on account of state capture because those who held instruments of power were also players in the banking sector. Government agencies, government departments were being forced to bank with particular banks, private banks, Honorable Speaker. But we have opted, Honorable Speaker, out of magnanimity, not to look back, but to forge ahead, knowing that we found an economy that was in the doldrums, without looking back at who did what through state capture, Honorable Speaker, to focus on what needs to be done now, urgently, to get our economy working again, and not working for those in government today, not working to those who are policymakers today, but working for the downtrodden, working for those at the bottom of the economic pyramid, Honorable Speaker. We speak about social protection, Honorable Speaker. What greater social protection can we speak about if not the National Social Insurance Fund, Honorable Speaker, that seeks to create a social insurance fund for millions of Kenyans who cannot afford their health care today, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we may speak until the cows come home.
You are on home stretch, Majority Leader. You are on.
I have noted the light, Honorable Speaker, and that's why I'm saying I can speak until the cows come home. But I cannot overemphasize the need for all of us to stand up as patriots and do the right thing for our economy. For all of us to stand up and join in the fight against corruption for the sake of our generation and future generations. For all of us to stop being populists and do the right thing to get this economy back on its track, even without looking back, Honorable Speaker, but forging ahead together, united as a nation, for the posterity and prosperity of our great people and our nation, our motherland, Kenya, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I now beg to note the thanks of the House on the State of the Nation address and request the Deputy Leader of Majority, the Honorable Owen Baya, member for Kilifi North, to second this motion.
Honorable Mbaya, you have 5 minutes to second.
Not 10.
5.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, one, I want to note the thanks